All right, so here we are. My name is Chris Atala. I'm the owner of Games Done Legit, a video game entertainment company out here in Cleveland, Ohio. I am super freaking jazzed today because we've got some dedicated, the most hardcore retro gaming fans making their own movie for our through our love of Nintendo and everything. And so yeah, please introduce yourselves, guys.
Jay, go ahead.
My name is Jay Bartlett. I am a video game collector and musician and star of the current documentary Nintendo Quest, which is coming out this year. Finally, Rob.
You say finally like it's been an eternity or something. We shot
Oh,
this
it,
film.
it, it feels it. The secrets that I can't reveal, it feels like a lifetime, but
Only three others share the secret with me.
that's
Um,
right. That's right.
yeah, it's a Nintendo Quest is a film that we shot in 2013. I am the director and on-screen confidant of Mr. Video Game Rockstar Jay Bartlett. The film obviously chronicles and delves in depth on Nintendo culture and history while following this crazy guy around for 30 days and over 10,000 miles as he crisscrosses North America in an attempt to get all 678 North American retail released NES games. Those are the games that bear that special gold seal of approval. So I dared Jay to do it in 30 days with his money, all in person, without using the internet. And that was just the beginning of many, many big things that happened because of a simple dare one night.
Oh, a dare started this whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, well, there was the whole idea of I'd like to do a documentary. I want to do it in collecting. Video game sounds great. And then it was, Jay, I dare you to do it. And he said yes.
In a nutshell, yeah, that's pretty much how it went. We wanted to do a documentary on collecting, but we had to make it spiced up a bit, right? We didn't want to have the usual follow around, watch me pick up games kind of thing. So Rob came up with the 30-day challenge idea and the no internet, and hey, the rest is history.
So what do you guys mean? What's the stipulation? No internet? Does that mean no online selling, but you can contact people through
Nothing.
online or
No, nothing. No Craigslist, no PayPal, no eBay. Do not use the internet in any
what?
way. Do it old school. The only time we used the internet was as a GPS device to get from city to city, shop to shop.
Holy shit, man,
And,
that's
and to
crazy.
and to post pictures on Facebook for everybody that was following through our campaign. But that's it. There was no anything. There was nothing remotely retail related, or game hunting, or game delving, or wondering done online through any online's interweb means.
That's freaking incredible.
Yeah,
So
Chris, a lot of this came about when Rob and I were sitting around during the summer. Rob just finished his feature called Unearthly, which is a really wicked sci-fi action movie. And
wow, really?
yeah, we were sitting around and we were talking about how multiplayer gaming is so disconnected nowadays. How, you can have like 30 people in a match, which is really awesome, but everyone's kind of separated in their own little room, in their own houses, and your buddies are far away. So when we
Yeah.
decided to do this, we were like, yeah, let's do it old school like we used to. Let's get up, get in the car, go to the game store, go to the flea market, and just see what happens.
It's the difference between being connected and being plugged in. And we think that's really missing from our gamer culture. So we thought if we're going to do anything that would be fun, let's showcase what it's like to be connected again. And Jay's always had a lifelong dream of, owning a complete library set, and then it all of a sudden, before we even thought about anything, it was, well, I dare you to get the Nintendo set because that's the one that everybody can get on board with. Everybody loved the NES.
Yeah, much to my dismay as a Sega fan, but of course I grew up with the Nintendo, and it's like my friend had the Master System and everything. So that's still close to me too. But I mean, yeah, I mean the NES. I was really impressed by watching the trailer, and you got guys who I've never heard talking about the NES before, like Billy Mitchell in there, who I just know from King of Kong
Sure.
and all his work with Twin Galaxies. So I never really think of those guys, and of course they were of that era, but I've never heard them speak to like the shared cultural importance of Nintendo. So the fact that it seems like you guys are able to play up that angle with your movie, I just think is genius.
Yeah, and Jay will be the first one to attest, and I'll say it this go around. We always swap every time we get to talk to someone. We love gaming of all eras, of all manufacturers. We like Sega just as much as the next guy, but Nintendo is something that speaks to probably us a little first and foremost. But we don't have preferences. We don't pick sides. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Yeah, and when we were looking into who we wanted to be in the film, that was real simple. It was guys that we've always looked up to, right? So you got world record holders, you got arcade guys from the golden age, you got all walks of life in there because the video game community, I think we want everyone just joined together. Do you know what I mean? I don't like this
Yeah.
separation of this guy's a retro gamer, this guy's a PC gamer, this guy's just a current gen console. We like
Yeah.
everything, and I think you can really, really see that in the film and in our brand too. We just celebrate all of gaming.
Dude, yeah, that's awesome, and that's something that I try to do as well. I used to be when competing in fighting games, because that's where I came from. I used to run an event called Seasons Beatings that became
No way.
international. We'd have like 10 countries coming out, and like the broadcasts, and all that stuff, and sponsors and all that. And it's like you like to insulate yourselves. You're like, oh man, the shit that I like is the best shit, and they play CVS2, like CVS2, oh, that game is garbage, or that game's got like trash technology,
Yeah,
and for some reason, we just as gamers, we like to celebrate the stuff that we love and seek out, like hang out with kind of the same people with the same interests. But I realize that the older I get, that that's not always the right attitude to take, and just by being more open and wanting to learn what other people's experiences, and just like we can all add that to, yeah, just like all make gaming better,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
I
all kind
mean,
of like ambassadors for gaming. So
it was really
it's
weird.
awesome.
Like from sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 that's it.
I was
Yeah,
just gonna say from the first time I was able to work, which I believe was about 14 years old. My paychecks went into gaming, and I remember some of my friends were Nintendo guys, some of my friends were Sega guys, and Rob and I were always the guys that didn't want to have to choose. It's like, well, why do you have to have a Nintendo or a Genesis? Why can't you like
yeah.
both? They have great offerings on both, and even the Turbo and all the other more obscure systems. So we
How are
just
you guys so young? How are you guys so young but so smart at the same time? And to not get swept in like the console war stuff, because that shit raged, and like in the especially Genesis Super NES. How did you guys be able to like have that maturity as gamers like so young? Because I didn't.
well,
It just seems kind of like second nature. I think it's like, why would you? There's this weird like ego pride relationship that gamers get into. They get sucked into because they buy something, they put their money into it, so they feel attached to it. Then they've got to start like
Yeah,
defending it like it's their own thing instead of just saying, yeah, this is cool, I like it. Maybe it's not what I hoped it'd be. What's that about? And what's that about? Like if you the second you get closed-minded about stuff and unwilling to explore and unwilling to learn and expand, that's when you get in trouble because you gain nothing except for boundaries, and then you become defensive, and then you start pushing people away. We are
yeah,
yeah,
completely the opposite. We've always wanted to welcome people in and learn
yeah.
about stuff so we can have more fun, discover new things. We're not gatekeepers. We're all about open community. We've said that from day one, you know?
And as far as like individual game systems go, one of my favorite sayings is you don't play consoles, you play games, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I
Okay.
mean, there's great developers on all systems, and it's a shame to pass up on those great gaming opportunities simply because you don't like Sega or you don't like Microsoft, etc. So,
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, that's awesome, guys. 100% behind you guys on that. Um,
Well, that's nice of
so
you.
yeah, and it's like it's cool now. I love the people who grew. You mentioned like Turbo Graphics. Like I wasn't lucky enough to have one when I was little, so I got these guys who come out to our events now, and they're like the experts. So they'll show me, like they'll go through like Airzonk, and this one dude he beat like some super deformed Splatterhouse game that only came out in Japan, and it's just fun. It's fun to be a gamer now, and we didn't have all the freedom and the money to pursue like every game, and obviously now that we're adults, we can indulge a little bit more in our hobby, and obviously,
oh
you guys
yeah,
And
took
that,
that about as seriously as possible.
well, that's just it, right? Like, I could have made a film about anything, and Jay and I could have collaborated on anything, but what's the one thing that we've always loved aside from movies, right? So if you're going to make a movie on something you love, then you make it on the thing that you love the most because that's just the recipe
Hmm.
for success. Do what you love no matter what you want. And as a filmmaker, I like games. Jay was obviously a huge, huge kind of influence on my gaming career. He loves games. Why not do something on him, and let's do something on gaming together. So it was like, it all just came together so seamlessly without too much like head scratching or forcing. It was never a square peg in a round hole. It was more like we'd get 3 or 4 steps down the road in the planning stage, and then we go, wait a second, why did we do this? And then we have to think about, why was it the NES? Why was it these rules? Why is it this format? And it just all added up without questions. Like, okay, yeah, no, we know what we're doing. We got this. So, yeah, we just
Okay.
got kind of lucky in that respect, I guess.
Okay, so we got the project, like the impetus of how you guys started this off, but how do you go about making a movie? I don't know. I love film. I don't know anything about producing or like getting the money behind it or like the backing or how do you even start that process?
Well, it's where to start with that question. It all starts with the idea. It literally starts with the idea and knowing how to pitch it to people, because if you can't get somebody interested, then you're not going to get the movie made. And that's everybody from the crew to potential investors to a potential audience to potential collaborators. So it's everybody. And when this idea came together, I pitched our producer Jordan, and I said, "So I've got this idea. I'm going to do a documentary on video games. We're going to look at the Nintendo culture. Why has it lasted so long? You know, why are people still playing like the original NES like 30 years later? Why has it stood the test of time? And to showcase that it has, I want to follow Jay around for 30 days as he tries to collect all 678 games, which is like almost 24 games a day that he needs to do with his own money, and the clock never stops." And he's like, "There's so much I love about that." And you can't use the internet in any way. And then that was like the big thing. So every time I pitched it to people, it was like, this is great, I want to see this. And then you realize, okay, you have something here. And then it's just a matter of who believes in the project enough to come together. So we got our crew together. The financial stuff was, we did one round of Kickstarter in late May to late June of 2013 for some production fund assistance, and we were able to secure an investor as well to help us. And then we hit the road and we started filming. We did about 2.5 weeks of filming before the 30-day start to get like some character stuff on who Jay is and where he comes from and what he's like and what makes him tick, as well as just some other interviews and stuff. We were filming at San Diego Comic-Con that year. That's where I met Billy Mitchell.
Oh,
Um,
badass.
yeah, Patrick Scott Patterson was there, and then it just started snowballing. And you just start shooting, and you, as a filmmaker, you kind of, everybody has their own way of approaching stuff and how you shoot and how you figure it out. And there's always a little bit of learning curve with every project because it's always a little bit different. So as that curve was ironed out, then you just keeps ramping up. And I think Jay, you'll attest to the filmmaking experience, how it was strange at first, but then it became secondhand after a while.
Yeah, it was. At first, it was strange having one camera in my face, and then when we hit the road, there's two cameras in your face and a boom mic over you the whole time. But I got used to it pretty quick. I mean, Rob's a wonderful filmmaker and a great director, so it was, besides being my friend, I mean, he made it very comfortable for everybody, and the nervousness quickly subsided. So it was a great experience.
I think Jay's definitely the one to ask about, what was the filmmaking experience like, because I come from a background where I've been doing this for 15 years. So Jay's
Oh,
a
wow.
little bit fresher into the
Mhm.
monster, the beast. And what I guess, just to throw it out there, you say, "Oh wow," and I'm definitely not offended by anything like that. We're just, one of the things we've been trying to tell people is like, look, this isn't just a pickup video. We're not just going out and doing like a glorified YouTube pickup. This is like a documentary on Nintendo, why it matters, and let's do something grand and tell the personal story of Jay. So yeah, like I was saying, if you want to know about like the filmmaking experience and what it was like and how all of a sudden that happened and what the scenario was like, Jay is definitely probably the best one to answer, because it was all happening for the first time through his eyes as he was thrust into every single scene, every single day, all the different obstacles on the production side, let alone the challenge or dare side.
Sure. Oh yeah, yeah. So I don't know, like any cool stories to share with us in that department, Jay? I'll leave that open ended.
I guess one of the things I wasn't prepared for was we kind of had an idea where we're going day to day as far as cities go. Like we knew where we're going, but the game stores, it was kind of, we had a general idea. But getting there, I was anxious. I'm like, all right, a new game store, let's go. And Rob's like, no, 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 no. There's about 45 minutes of setup before you could even go in there, right? So I always had to wait outside on the street corner or in the production van or whatever because everything is non-scripted. So my action or my reactions had to be completely natural. So Rob would get in there, set up the crew, and then about 40, 45 minutes later, I would get to come in. So that was the big shock because I didn't know there would be like establishing shots and stuff. I kind of had this idea of the camera would be kind of always following behind me kind of thing, but it was some of the time, but for the most part, it was set up. It was great.
Are there any Borat kind of moments in the stores where we got like shit getting knocked down, or any slapstick moments that we can look forward to in the film?
Uh yeah. Oh, there's a ton. I mean, it's really amazing to me how this story of Nintendo Quest unfolded. What started off as a film about me collecting every NES game, retail style, to the characters we met and the things that developed. It really blew me away. Um, I don't know if this is in the final version of the film. I'll keep it short. Texas. We were in Texas meeting world record holder and idol of ours, Ben Gold. And Ben knew these people that were friends of our friends that had NES games. So it's like, hey, cool. We're going to meet Ben Gold, and he's going to take us to these people's house, and they're going to have NES games. So, hey, I get to kind of game hunt with Ben Gold. That's pretty sweet, right? Except we get there, and it's like an old farmhouse, kind of like out of the Devil's Rejects, if you've ever seen the Rob Zombie film. It was like a bunch of like inbred, like just really nasty people in there, and they had
Well,
the
I don't know
game.
if I'd go that far. Let's maybe hold back a little bit on that.
No, no, these
You want
people.
them to see this movie in the city we're talking about, right? I mean, maybe a
Oh,
little more
that's
irritable.
well.
Let's just shorten it to say that these people were less than hospitable and their expectations were not quite grounded in what they were trying to do. Basically, they had a bunch of games that they wanted to sell a friend of Ben's, and Ben knew we were coming, and then they approached Jay with his expertise to see if he was interested in buying any of them.
I
Oh,
only
okay.
I only say that, and not to be harsh to them, but the reaction to some of the quotes I gave them on the games, they were. It was not pleasant. It was very clear that we had to get out of that house ASAP. So, not trying to offend anybody. I'm just generalizing. So,
If this was like a found footage film, that would be like a clear like turning point where there's
yeah,
like past the point of no return if we didn't choose to leave. What I'm
Holy
saying.
shit! All right.
It
yeah.
was tense. It was very, very tense.
Extra
So
features, I hope. Some outtakes. Maybe we'll see it someday.
Maybe,
maybe we
maybe.
do have all the releases, but we're not in the business of pointing fingers and mocking or putting down people for their misinformation or ignorance. So I'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Good stories are good stories, but we don't want to publicly humiliate anybody because they think something is worth $30,000
Yeah,
when it's not.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Well, I mean, you can still get around to that when you guys are rich and famous from your film success. Then
Oh,
you
there you
can
go.
then you can tell the stories and blow everybody up. And
You know, it's funny that you make that comment because someone else said that to me the other day, I think via Facebook or Twitter. Like, you guys are becoming rich and famous because of this Kickstarter campaign. And oh, first of all, that's never our goal of ours. We've always just wanted to make this film and have fun and make the best film possible. And with regards to the Kickstarter campaign, every dollar you see goes either back into the film or now back into this game that we're making. And so I know when people check it out and check out Kickstarter.com, search Nintendo Quest, secure your copy of stuff today because it's evaporating like you wouldn't believe. It's all just going back into it. There's still legal and insurance that we've got to deal with for the film, and now that we've announced that we're creating our own game based on the premise of the film, we have to hire an entire development team, and that's going to take a while, and it's salaries to pay. This stuff is not cheap to do, but you guys are making it possible to happen, so that's why we're doing it. We don't mind putting the time and effort in. Let's get it out there and let's do it right. And quality is always above is the most paramount thing we believe in.
yeah, how did that come about? I mean, that's incredible. I've been starting to learn a little bit more about like the ROM hacking community, and
Hmm.
I've got this one company called 8-Bit Evolution who's in Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh.
and they put out like fan hacks on like a
They
real
do
cartridge that you can
awesome.
buy.
They do awesome, awesome work. I'm a huge fan of them. There's a retailer that they've teamed up with here in Vegas that they have some of their stuff, so I'm a big fan of them.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah, great. So yeah, this has been my entry into this world of retro gaming. So how do you like go about finding like assembling the team in the first place? I mean, I want to talk about the idea and like what the game is going to be like, kind
Sure.
of like about and how it's going to play and all that too. But I'm really curious to how that project got off the ground.
That
Well,
was always that
Jay,
was
why don't
always an
you?
idea I think that we had, or at least I did right off the bat. I mean, it was so exciting filming this thing. I just had ideas every day about, okay, where can this go next? Beyond another film sequel, like that makes sense if it's the right project. But beyond that, I'm like, wow, there should be a game about this film. It would be really great. And Rob's kind of like, hey, easy, Tiger, slow down here. Let's finish this film one thing at a time, kind of deal. So I think it's always been in the back of our minds. And then again, Rob called me one day and said, hey, we're going to shoot for this stretch goal. And guess what? If we get it, we're going to make this game. So I was just blown away, totally excited.
Yeah, I mean, probably 6 months after we finished filming, I talked to a gentleman by the name of Joe Granato, and he develops some of these games. He doesn't have a ton of experience, but he recently launched a Kickstarter campaign for his own film called The New 8-Bit Heroes, in which that he unearths his documents from him being 7 years old for his original design plans for an NES game. And now he's going through that process of filming him creating that 7-year-old vision of a great NES game. And I said to him before he started that project, like, what would it take to do a game? And he laid it all out, and it was like, okay, so it was definitely just a money issue. And then when our campaign this time around, went off so well, like we're talking under 3 hours, we hit our initial goal just to get copies of the DVD in people's hands. It was like, okay, what
Wow.
can we do? How can we beat this, and how can we keep the momentum going? So we planted the flag at the $25,000 mark, and it really only took, I think, 10 days from when it was announced to by the time that we hit it, which is
Gee.
pretty, unbelievable, the appetite and support in this community for quality, homebrew product. And Jay says, what we should make a game, we should make a game, and it translates so well because in the film, because it's a dare and it has all these rules, he is playing a game about collecting games, and the game that he's playing is very much like the games he's collecting. So it all just like meshes together so well. And it was funny, even at last October, I was actually fooling around with a text-based adventure. That was a lot of fun, and I got through day one that had multiple different tree scenarios where if you did this at this person's house and you did this, and you could do good things and bad things and it would affect a karma score. And it was a lot of fun to do, and I said, this is going to take a lot of work to do a 30-day journey, and it's not going to be what I want it to be in terms of what a game could be and a game that's right for this film.
Mhm.
So I kind of put the idea just on the shelf, knowing that we may down the road have a chance to do it. And then all of a sudden, when the campaign hit, and I had to call Jay, I'm like, so this is what we're going to do. And he's like, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. So here we are. We're doing it!
So are you guys working on that now, or are you still doing posts on the film?
The film's pretty much done. I literally just got another sound mix 2 days ago when you and I first started connecting. There's only one or two notes that I have on that, and then that'll be done. Surround sound 5.1, baby.
Nice.
And so that's pretty much done and ready to kind of go. We're waiting for some distribution options to finalize, and then that's the film. And the game, we're basically going to be doing a lot of research and like development on the story and the mechanics and what we'd like to see, but we really won't be able to start in earnest until probably close to a year from now, with the release date being end of 2016 probably, just because Joe is finishing up his game. He's going to need a little bit of a break before he can start another one, and that gives us time to get everything kind of sorted out, premiere the film, get that going, and then get working on the game, and then the game can come out, and they can each help each other.
Cool. So I could just kind of envision in my head, is it going to be like a Zelda 2 kind of game where is it like a side scroller, but like and maybe like an open world map where you gotta tackle this challenge, or like walk me through what you guys envision the game kind of playing like.
Well, I'm going to let Jay explain it, but I'm going to let you and all the viewers know that if they go to nesclub.podomatic.com, they can listen to two brainstorming sessions from Jay and I where we just riff on what we'd like to see, and a third one comes out tomorrow. So it's almost like a trilogy of like the thought process. In each episode, you can see it get funneled down more and more and more refined. So definitely check that out. nesclub.podomatic.com. But Jay, walk us through where we've been so far and what we've got, and I can even try to bring up the opening scenario if you think it would be worthwhile for me to read, Jay.
Yeah, for sure you can do that. I think the original or the idea we've come up with is kind of a Final Fantasy traditional RPG style where you have the main character, game collector, which would be me, and then Rob together, and then you're going to meet people that we've come across throughout the film, and people obviously who have donated in the Kickstarter to switch out of your party, and then we'll have different classes, again like Final Fantasy. So you have your white mage, your black mage, etc., and they'll have different powers. Rob actually wrote a really cool backstory. Do you want to quickly read a little
Sure,
snippet?
yes. So this is kind of like the setup of the game, the kind of opening chapters, if you will. And you can imagine where within this different combat would be explored, and you get used to the mechanics. So, and this is just a first draft. This is part of our podcast that comes out tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern. And it's written in like a direct address, as if you're the player. So
Cool.
you and your friend, it starts off, you and your friend Rob set out to go game hunting when you realize all the game stores are empty. And there's a massive fire at the last store. The store owner's trapped inside, and when you try to rescue him, 3 members of DigiCorp Unlimited interfere. This owner wouldn't turn over his stock, and not even for money, so they wanted to destroy it and him. If they can't be digitized, then they won't be played. You and Rob jump to the owner's rescue, fight off the DigiCorp baddies, but not before making a mortal enemy, and one that vows to find your personal collection, digitize it, and destroy the physical remains. Thankfully, the store owner saw this coming and gives you a secret address to meet him later, and a special sprite. He tells you sprites are magical and will change the way you see the world. In the meantime, head home and make sure your collection is safe. Of course, DigiCorp has beat you to it and burned your entire house. Only the game Rob was borrowing remains. He gives it to you, and your newly acquired sprite begins to glow, as does your last remaining game, a copy of Super Plumber Brothers. Something's different, and you don't know what. That night you rendezvous with the store owner, where the collectors of the Golden Cart gather. They've been waiting for you, and you're told that you're the chosen one, and it's up to you to save every game that you can from DigiCorp Unlimited. The games you collect will give you power, as they have a real connection with you. The more you collect, the more your power will grow. But time is short. DigiCorp power grows as well, and they've infected collectors everywhere with the dark side of the cart. Greed and nonsense have spread across the land, and binary energy fuels those that side with DigiCorp. You have just 30 days to defeat them before gaming changes forever, and no one will ever be able to collect again. Travel to distant towns, cities, and form alliances with other gamers in the 8-bit army to preserve the history of gaming, or die trying.
Holy shit, that's that's pretty advanced. That's a very high concept. I didn't really
That's
expect
good,
that.
huh?
I'm very
Oh man,
impressed.
I love it. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Just a first pass. You know, we're working on it.
Trying to get ahead.
This is awesome, man. I want to play this right now.
Cool.
I need,
Yeah,
dude,
so
I need my
it's
fix, dude.
it's obviously set like in a contemporary world with some heightened fantasy elements. To have some fun with the fact that you're playing a game. So there is like the attacks, the combos, and certain spells and stuff. But you'll be going into stores and you're going to have to try to find games, and that clock will always be ticking, just like it was for Jay.
And we were talking earlier too. It's great that the retro collecting is so big now. And we were just thinking, no one has ever made a game about collecting games. So,
Yeah,
so
that's good. I can't think of one.
I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Oh, I just said I can't think of one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting because during the shoot of this film, like Rob and I have discussed before, it is a game. Every decision I made weighed heavy on me, and it was fun, but it was anguish at the same time, right? So
Well, what
uh,
kind of decisions did you have to make on your quest?
Without spoilers.
without
No
spoiling,
spoilers.
you come across something. Let's just say, I don't know, something simple like Contra. So you come into contact with Contra. Contra is, $10. This store owner has it for $25. Okay. Now keep in mind every shoot is limited. The clock is always ticking. We can't stay there forever because we have a schedule to maintain. So Contra's $10. That's what it's worth, and this guy's it for $25. Do I buy it for $25, or do I pass on it and hope to see it down the road?
Oh, okay, I
Every
gotcha.
every single decision, every single cart, that decision popped in my head, and it's tough, man. I mean, it seems fun, but you have to remember that it was all my money. So it wasn't like Scrooge McDuck. I didn't have just unlimited. I could buy everything in the store, right? It was a very limited budget, so every decision just weighed on me. And we hope that that element translates into the game too. That I can't stress that enough. Yeah, that's an important part of it.
We get
Yeah,
really
sounds
in
like
depth. Chris, if you think the synopsis that I read is like high concept, highbrow, and in depth, honestly go back and listen to the last two podcasts. Again, the new one comes out tomorrow at noon Eastern. So you can go back and listen through, and you'll see the evolution of the ideas and how it gets to that point, and how we want the leveling system to be, and the gear system, and the villains, and the openness of the world. We kind of want to see it. We want it as open-ended as possible. So you start in a town, and you can go to any town, almost like a Mega Man stage select, and we
hmm
want the enemies you encounter to like scale to your current level. So you can do it in whatever order you want. You can do the dungeons in each area in any order you want. You can party with anybody that you want, or not party with people, and not do side quests, and gain extra faction for going above and beyond. But do you do all the extra stuff and burn down the clock? Because it'll help you in the long run, or do you just try to grind through it and get through it as quick as possible? So there's a lot of variables you're going to have to consider. It's a choose your own adventure with dire stakes. The world of gaming is on the line before everything gets digitized, my friend. Act now! Save the world!
I love it.
No more coffee, buddy. You're done.
That's hype, man. That's freaking yeah. That's what we. That's I think what all of us, as retro gamers, that's in our own kind of way. We want to preserve that era that we grew up loving. And I don't know about you guys, but I fear when I have kids. I'm gonna be sitting down and playing Contra and everything with them, but I hope they like it. I hope they're not like, oh, well, we can play Mass Effect 8 or whatever, and Call of Duty 27, and we don't. This game's ugly. Um,
Well, I think a lot of that is reflective of film and music too, where kids today listen to, I mean, I don't even know what kids today listen to as far as rock goes, but they listen to whoever, and that's their favorite thing. And then we're like, no, no, music came from Elvis and the Beatles and Chuck Berry and stuff like that, and they don't want to hear that. And then you get to a certain age when you want to know where all that stuff came from, and then you get that appreciation for it. So I think maybe at first your kids will not like Contra, but if they're true gamers and stick with it, they're going to want to know where everything came from, and then have an appreciation for that.
Especially as more and more games want to point to earlier concepts, because there's like an in-joke within the community. There could be like a Konami code Contra joke in a game that they play in the future, and then they'll go back and see where that comes from.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already seeing like our past being erased with like the manuals are all online nowadays.
yeah, man, I
So
hate that shit.
our current stretch goal for this game, so we don't have to put an online PDF for people to download when they play it. Our new stretch goal is if we hit 35K, you get a manual and an overworld map, and we hope to have something on the flip side of that map, like charts and all the information you need, because it's important to hold it and preserve that, man. It matters. It matters so much. I mean, people laughed when I announced it. Our first stretch goal was when we got to 100 backers, we'll give people a cassette of our 8-bit soundtrack, no pencil included, but a cassette. So.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. It was just such a special thing as a kid, and it's even more special now when you're able to find, like an old game, but you get the map and you get the, colored manual and like the expensive printed paper. Like Working Designs is my favorite game company still, and a big part of my love for gaming is from the two Lunar Games and Sega CD, and Working Designs did a lot to push for like beautiful manuals and like really cool bonuses, that came with your games and everything. And it's just so disheartening to open up a new game now and it's like, oh, a one-page flyer advertising some
that
other.
has a link to go online.
Yeah.
Well, but even so, I mean, I find most games nowadays, they make you go through tutorials, which I personally find irritating. I
Oh
would
yeah, I hate
much
it.
rather pick up the game and learn it myself. And then if you have to go back and look at the book, then you go back and look at the book. But I don't like, you play Halo or Call of Duty or whatever, and there's that first stage where it's like, all right, look up, now look down, and you're just like, oh my goodness, like,
It's such a barrier, and even when it
yeah,
isn't infantile as here's how to use your control stick, it's always that. And I think Jay, you're alluding to it. It's like when I put a new game in, do I have the patience for that first hour to get through that
I know.
grinding mediocrity of educationalism? It's like, ah,
Whereas you put in Super Mario, you put in Mega Man, and it's go. You put in
go.
Mega Man, you pick a stage, and you go, and it's trial and error, and they don't hold your hand. When you die in Mega Man, if you die at Cutman at the boss, you have no more lives. You are done. You do it again. You die in Halo, you start at a checkpoint that was 5 seconds ago. So,
Yeah, that's a big part of why I don't play a lot of new games anymore. It's like the AAA titles. I almost never ever play them. I mentioned Mass Effect. I love Mass Effect 1. That's my favorite game of the last gen. But I just get like bored because I don't feel like there's consequences for me screwing up, and it's just like a part of it. I'm not able to like really keep my interest with games where it's just like if you die, it doesn't really matter. You just go like 5 seconds sooner, or you stand still for 5 seconds to get all your life back. They just don't hold my
yeah.
interest anymore.
Yeah, you regen your shield and your life and stuff. A bunch of the carts that we would get on a daily basis, we'd take back to the hotel and play. And some of these titles we hadn't played since we were kids. And it's funny now how just grueling these games are. I mean, Rob and I were
Yeah,
just looking at each other like, wow, do we really suck this bad? Because I just think that the
Yes, we
games back
do.
then,
Yes, we
I
do.
think the games back then are just more challenging.
I
They
agree.
oh
they
hell
really
yeah.
are. But
What
And
are
and that's nothing against games nowadays, because like I said, Jay and I love gaming of all eras, and I play a
yeah,
ton of current gen games. But there's just something different about that era, even though we're only talking 20 to 30 years. There's something different about the ideology, the ethos, and design that happened with those games compared to the games nowadays. Games nowadays are easy because they want to get you through them and get to the next one so you can keep shelling out $60. Versus back then, everybody that was gaming was primarily still kids, So you got to have a longer life play because you're only getting a game at Christmas and your birthday. Nowadays, gamers are like 32 to 35, so they can keep shelling out $60 every Tuesday. Or download it, not even go to the store. Instant buy, click it, go play.
Digicorp?
Digicorp.
Digicorp,
Gotta,
Boo,
Digicorp,
Digicorp.
Digicorp Unlimited, because you can keep printing off digital copies. Unlimited binary energy fueling through the world.
yeah, it is kind of like a trap because what happens, when a company pulls the plug? Like Scott Pilgrim just recently went off of Xbox Live Arcade and PSN. As a fighting game player, now Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is off the store because
Yeah.
Capcom, did not renew their Marvel license. So, man, it's like I much rather prefer having the physical thing.
I had that
You got
with
it.
MK3 on Xbox Live.
Oh yeah.
I erased it for some reason to make room for whatever, and then like 6 months later I go back and it's not there. I mean I have MK3 on 35,000 different games, but you know what I mean. The point is that I bought that, and nobody reads the user agreement, but you really don't own it because if they decide to take it off, it's gone. And a lot of these games on PSN and Xbox Live require you to be connected to work, which is really bummy to me, man. It's really made me rethink buying digital stuff.
Jay,
Oh
you have the
yeah.
best example still, man. I mean, we talk about stuff that's not there anymore. The one series that we love so much has been decimated by this online connectivity and license issue.
Yeah, Rock Band, we're huge, huge, huge fans of that game. I think it's absolutely brilliant and one of the best games ever made. And the thousands of dollars that Rob and I have spent on downloadable content via songs. And again, you don't
Yeah.
read the fine print of the user agreement, but um, once the license is up for that game, you have to renew it again or you don't get it. So, you buy the whole Foo Fighters record, and one day we go to play it and it's gone. And it's like, wait a second.
From your library?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Or
individual songs are licensed, just like Capcom didn't renew the Marvel license, so the title is gone. Individual songs by individual artists have different expiry license dates. So one by one, they disappear.
or the one day we moved the Xbox downstairs just for, a bigger room or whatever, and we weren't connected online, so none of the DLC, none of the songs were there. And we're just like,
What? Really?
yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, Not a fan. Not a fan of that stuff at all. But
Yeah, and it's interesting you guys speak to that stuff because it's a pain in the ass to run gaming events with stuff like that happening. Like I've
oh
done
yeah,
events like I did an event with Microsoft Store for a high school out here, and they brought Plants vs Zombies on Xbox One, and we couldn't play it because there's no local co-op. It has to be
yeah.
connected online, so it's like we
And
had all
it's
these games
funny
we couldn't use.
because when that game came out, the EA servers were so bad for that game that you couldn't even play it. So you bought a game, and you can't even play it offline. And let's go further with that, Chris, and talk about Capcom, which again we all love Capcom, but a lot of their DLC, especially for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, was already on the disc.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're paying X number of points or whatever to unlock something that's already on the disc. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the practice. They took a beating with Street Fighter X Tekken, and yeah, because it was the same thing. Like 30 characters, are on the disc, and Capcom was kind of like not. They were purposely being a little bit misleading about it, and they figured out with the PC version, oh, this is like all in
Yeah,
the files and everything, and
it's on the coding, yeah, for sure. Well,
They should make it more of a microtransaction when it's already coded on there. To be fair, like make it an achievement, even if it's really hard. Let the players earn that stuff that's on the disc. But if they want to just pay to unlock it, then let them do it. But
yeah,
give the player a chance to earn the unlockable stuff.
yeah, I
That's
like
already
that.
there. That hasn't required any extra development after the release. You already paid for those characters to be there. You paid for the QA on it. Give us a chance to earn it. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that approach. You guys mentioned Rock Band. I'm really, really love the Japanese Bimani games and Guitar Freaks and Drummania. Like I play DDR like kind of competitively still, but
nice.
GFDM is like one of my favorite just gaming experiences. Period. And the home versions, because this is before DLC and everything, you had to play like thousands of songs to like unlock everything in the game. But that game was just like so addictive, and I just loved playing it so much that I had no problem just like playing it, night after night after night to unlock everything.
Sure,
And
yeah.
like now, like with Just Dance, that's huge for like parties and stuff like that. And I'm looking at the track list, and there's all like you can buy like 30 songs, and there's just like really nothing cool to unlock. I miss that.
Yeah,
I
I
wish I
mean,
could unlock those songs, or get unlock more points to even purchase songs from the store, even if it takes you a long time to earn them.
yeah, I
Did
agree
you
with
have?
that. I mean, Rock Band 1 and 2, and actually 3, I think all three of them had songs to unlock. You just had to go through the career mode and you'd be playing different gigs and different shows, so repeating a lot of the same songs. And I thought that was cool because it was like you were a band on tour. Because, when you're on tour, you're going to play, the same set every night. So I thought that part was really cool.
And just for the record, Chris, we are trying to plan some sort of unlock stuff in our game. And if you want your game, go to Kickstarter.com, search Nintendo Quest, and reserve your copy today. There's like 50 hours left, and we're so close to our next stretch goal.
Yes, oh my God. And in fact, I need to go on and get secure my copy too. So
You better hurry, man. I'm on Kickstarter right now. There are only 19 almost ultimate DVD collectors packs, and there's only 4 Blu-ray versions of those left. And there's 10 chances left to be in the game. There's 10 slots for that if you actually want to appear in an 8-bit NES game. And you love the concept, just go for it. Just make it happen.
I like it. I
Just do
like
it.
it. What are can you remind us what the levels are like overall while we're talking about it for
Yeah, sure. Let me go here. So, I mean, if you just want us to give you a nice little digital shout out, it's just $1. If you just want our digital soundtrack, it's $10. Because we have stretch goals, you're going to have to bear with me here. So every disc-based reward, everything from the $25 donation for just the bare bones film all the way up, now will come with an extra bonus features disc. So you're guaranteed a 2-disc or a 3-disc set for a Nintendo Quest. So that'll be the feature film and 2 discs full of extra content, extra days hunting, extended interviews, lots of fun, lots of laughs, good stuff. And of course, every pledge that is $25 or over, you will get our 8-bit soundtrack on audio cassette. If you prefer it digitally, we can make that available, but we're trying to keep it old school, right? So there is the bare bones DVD, the special edition DVD that is 2 discs, now 3 because of stretch goals, the almost ultimate DVD collector pack, which comes with the special edition 3-disc set, NES Club replica Nintendo box, the actual game, and a cart with a sticker on it. So any pledge over $50, you get the game as well. It's just crazy. So the thing I'm telling people to do, man, just pledge the $58. You get a 3-disc film set, you get our soundtrack, you get a replica box, and you get the game, all for under $60. You're getting all that. How can you say no?
I know exactly. I'm on here right now, so it's like,
And
yeah.
Besides the my quest and the history of Nintendo and stuff, I just want to touch on a bit the amazing people that we ran into and got to actually shoot with, like Todd Rogers, Bill Mitchell, Walter Day, etc. These extra discs are going to have extended interviews because while everyone is in the film, the interviews are cut short due to time restraints, right? So these extra discs are really going to be cool. You're going to be able to see longer cuts of the interviews, and these guys have a lot of great insight on the Nintendo Entertainment System. So check it out, yo.
Yeah, I can't wait because just like I was saying with those guys, in terms of the arcade, the arcade universe, but I'm just like really excited to hear what they have to say about the console era, the Nintendo era, because they're related but so different, and I'm sure they've got some great insights for us.
Jay, I don't want to betray our friend, and I really don't like to divulge who's pledged what because I don't think that's fair to everybody. But I will say that our good buddy Zach Speed has just secured a spot in our 8-bit NES game.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yes, he has. We're gonna get an 8-bit Zach Speed. Chris, I know you don't know Speed, but he's a good guy. He's a good party guy, and it's gonna be cool to have an 8-bit version of him in the game. So Jay,
Oh,
it
that's
looks like
amazing,
you're
man.
texting him right now.
I am. That's awesome.
Cool.
So,
Chris,
Chris,
what else? What
Chris, let
else
me
can I
just
tell
ask
you,
you.
man?
I wanted to ask you real quick, Chris. Sorry, bleh. I see you have a Solid Snake poster there. So, what is your
Oh
favorite
yeah.
Metal Gear?
Oh
Um,
God, here we go.
yeah,
Metal Gear.
I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. My girlfriend hates video games, but obviously Metal Gear is so important to me that I try to, I put all the Metal Gear Solid 1. Metal Gear Solid 1 is probably my tied for the Lunars with my favorite game of all time. I took all the audio in the game and put it on like a 3-disc like radio soundtrack, like a radio drama pretty much out of the whole story.
Oh, that's wicked, man.
Yeah, so it's like I'm on road trips. They drive around for games and everything that keeps me entertained. Yeah, I could talk about Metal Gear all day. I love all of them. The MSX ones, which we're talking about like older games and everything. I wish everyone who likes Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4 would go back and play, especially Metal Gear 2 on the MSX. It doesn't take a long
Yeah.
time to run through. It's
Yeah,
got
I was just gonna say
uh,
it's a real shame that most Metal Gear fans that I've talked to think that Metal Gear Solid is the first game and they don't know about the MSX or the NES games. It's too bad because they're great games, man. They're awesome.
yeah, they're really good. And Metal Gear 2 has implications, especially as Big Boss has become more and more an important character,
Yeah.
and a multifaceted character beyond like kind of like the villain that he was. It's really important to know what he eventually becomes, in the storyline. Um, yeah, I really hate Metal Gear Solid 4. I could talk about that all day too, but I won't subject everyone to my opinions.
I
I'm
liked it. I just didn't. I wasn't a fan of the long cinematics. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just thought in Metal Gear 4 they were a little too long, and I just honestly I couldn't bear it, so I didn't finish it. Not even close.
Good. I wish I could go back and never see the end of that game. I wish I could do that
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah.
To be
But
honest, I'm in like virgin territory here, gentlemen. The only Metal Gear I've played, other than the 2 NES ones, is that recent one that came out on PlayStation 4. Jay, I'm forgetting the name of Ground Zeroes.
Oh, the
oh yeah,
Grunges, yeah, yeah.
That's all I've played, but because of that, and I absolutely loved it, and I thought it was worth the price. I don't care what anybody says, whether it's just a demo, a glorified paid demo. I went back and got like the PS3 HD Legacy stuff and picked up some other games. So I'm really excited to jump into that because
I
it just blew me away.
I'm with you, man. I loved Ground Zeroes because it has everything that a Metal Gear game should be, and you get right into it. I mean, there's a nice story to it, but it's not too long, and you're into the action. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, I like it. I'll show you guys.
Loved it. Yes. Go
I'm
ahead.
glad to hear that because Metal Gear is such an old franchise now, and it builds upon so much story and all these basically like all these Metal Gear games really weren't. Kojima didn't design them with sequels in mind for almost the entire series. Almost every sequel has been unplanned, and that's why the story that he's tried to make canon, like even all the stuff that's supposed to be like existential and blatantly not real in Metal Gear Solid 2 has been canonized as like real plot. So it's nice to hear that new people can jump in, especially to the later Metal Gears, and like be into it. It makes me happy.
I felt like I was playing like a James Bond, like a hardcore James Bond thing, where I know I'm just jumping in for one little snippet in this character's like, trajectory, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay just seeing a little bit of it, and knowing that there's this whole legacy on both sides of where I am right now, that I can go back and jump in without question. I'm just absolutely intrigued by it, and I love stealth
Cool.
gameplay. I don't know if that's just a comment on who I am, but I just love it.
I'll show you guys my. This is one of my favorite game collectibles. I'm not as big a collector as I used to be, but this is the Metal Gear Solid 1 Premium package
Oh,
from
nice.
Japan. And let's see what we get on there. Yeah, it's sweet. It comes with like a custom Metal Gear Solid 1 shirt that I think Kojima designed himself. All kinds of stuff. I'm still in the process of playing through these in Japanese. My Japanese is trash, but that helps me sometimes like
What,
understand.
you haven't beat it in Japanese yet, man? You know what? I thought this was a hardcore, hangout. I don't have time for this if you haven't beat it in Japanese. Whatever.
I know, man.
Whatever.
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay, well, I'll give you a week to do it. 1 week.
That's fair.
Called out.
You can do that.
Throwing down the gauntlet. Let me make it happen.
I need to get through it really bad. I'm like, I could talk about Metal Gear all day. I apologize. I've even gone through like Metal Gear Ghost Babel, the Game Boy one, which is also fantastic. It's got an amazing story. It's better than the later Metal Gears. And like I've gotten Big Boss rank in like every single Metal Gear. I love Metal Gear.
That's awesome, dude. That's great to see. I love hearing gamers talking about the franchises that they're completely passionate about. Like, I just love it. So I'm glad you're a Metal Gear guy. That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so that kind of brings me to through just a couple other things I had about the project. We're talking about old games. Like, just to kind of sum it up, why do you guys think so many people have these shared experiences of loving like retro gaming? Like, what did you learn like in the process of making the movie about that passion for retro gaming, and like also how it's even related to your passion as well?
It's a good question. Jay,
So,
what did you learn about retro gaming and other people that share your passion for it?
One of the things I learned, a lot of the people we ran into, I found were kind of rebuying their stuff again. Where, they got married, they had kids, whatever they did, and they got rid of it. Then they decided, hey, or they thought, that was a dumb idea. And now they're trying to reacquire everything. So it's kind of like almost reliving that childhood passion that they had. There was a lot of people we met like that. What else? Just the absolute, just like you, Chris, with Metal Gear, there's so many people that latch on to a certain series or a certain character and just get completely obsessed with it. And I find that kind of passion, it's just inspiring, you know what I mean?
yeah, I agree.
For me, Chris, it's really interesting. It's Jay and I have always loved games, always been gamers. Sometimes it's way more in depth than it needs to be. Sometimes it's not as in depth as it needs to be, where we're just like going around getting as many games like we did in this film. Obviously, is a little bit overload. But meeting all these people, it's clear how important gaming is to them. Like, it really grabs them and punches them in the emotions. It matters so much. And when you sit there, just like we were talking to you about Metal Gear, you can see that they want you to be part of that. And they really want that sense of community, and they want you to care about the games that they love, and they just love that you can speak that language, and they can feel a part of something, and you can feel that with them. And that's really important, and that's why this film is important, man, because we're like we said earlier, I mean, that is getting lost in the translation to games where we're just separated and separated. And
Mhm.
it's this weird desperation, man, where people aren't desperate to connect or to be friends with gamers, but you can see how the importance of what that means. And I don't think you get that in too many other things like you do in gaming. Because when we game, and whether we're playing like a person game and we play a story that touches us and changes us or speaks to us in a different way we didn't expect, and then we talk to somebody else who had that same thing, then all of a sudden it's a different relationship and you see the world differently. It's really hard to say that about other things. So I think gaming is special because of that. And I definitely learned how important it is in people's lives, and it's more than just games because we're the people are different because of the games, and that's why it matters.
Yeah, very eloquent. Yeah, very well said. Um, yeah, that's
Thanks.
what I found.
Oh God.
No, it's I love doing this stuff. I realized for myself, it's a similar story. You know, we started running this event as a hobby, you know, just for fun. We love fighting games, and it became something so big. And then I would get that feedback about what seasons meetings meant to the people, these special events, you know, that we would put together and everything. You know, year round, people just telling us about, you know, and it gives you like a lot of responsibility because it's like, wow, these people are like giving me their time, and just as you guys making a film, you're having like an impact on other people's lives in like a good way, and yeah, it really helps you feel this collective that we're a part of, and this gaming culture has had such positive effects on our lives, and it's just really cool.
You hit it on the head there, man. That the responsibility that we have as people trying to do something and contribute to, the gaming world. You with your events, us with our film. I remember very specifically, Jay, and you'll remember when we were hanging out with Ben Gold and filming with him. We filmed with him for like 4 hours. If you guys don't know, Ben Gold is like the first televised world champion. He was on a show called That's Incredible, and he won an online competition. And of course, he's got dozens of world records, and he was showing us all of this archival stuff and speaking so passionately about the golden arcade age. And our producer turned to me after and Jay after and said, "We have like a major responsibility to the gaming world now with this film. This isn't just about a dare between friends. This isn't just about collecting the games. It's about representing the community as a whole and showing why this world matters." And that like really kind of hit home all of a sudden because we knew it mattered. We knew what we're doing was important. It's been important to us, but all of a sudden that's like one of those step back moments where it's like, yeah, this is more than just about a guy getting games and more than just an examination of one company's place in the larger sphere. It's about the community. It's about all the people that appear in the film and why they want to appear in the film and why they're doing this.
Yeah. Um, Jay, tell me one thing that you learned about Robert in this process.
You're a
One
good pal,
thing,
Robert.
one thing I learned about Rob, huh? One thing I learned about Rob. You put me on the spot there.
Well, Rob, if you can be up, Rob, if you like. I was gonna turn the tables. Next
What
question.
one thing I learned about Jay?
Yeah. What'd you guys learn about each other?
See,
Uh,
I don't want to be smart because we've known each other since we were little. We live beside each other, so I don't want to say that there's nothing we don't know about each other. But that's
You
why I'm
made a
gonna.
freaking movie together. There's got to be some
but
crazy shit that came
we've
to light.
known each other for over 30 years. Imagine going on a road trip for 30 days with a friend that you've known for 30 years about something you've been so passionate about almost your entire life. That's not to say we haven't learned anything, but that's just
I
to
would
sell the film.
say I knew that this was going to be a great film because Rob's idea and vision was so good. But I haven't seen the final version. I saw a cut last summer, the end of the summer, and I was shocked. I wasn't seeing myself on the screen. I was just seeing this beautiful film that he created, and I knew he was talented, but I didn't realize that he was that talented. And he's really professional. When it's time to roll, it's time to get serious. You know, we joke and screw around and stuff, but when it's time to roll, he just steps up, and that's something that I never witnessed because I haven't done a project with Rob in quite a while. So his professionalism, there you go. Is that good? Is that good enough?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Now you gotta say something nice about me, dummy. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so you just undercut it with a little insult there because you couldn't get too close to being real and showing your true emotions. Don't do that. Don't do that. Um, it's honestly along the same lines, Chris. As friends, you never. There's always rules in filmmaking, right? Never work with kids. Never work with weather or water. Never work with pets, and avoid making movies with your friends at all costs. Well, we dealt with weather. We had pets involved, and my best friend was the star of a documentary where I literally emptied every cent of my bank account, left my family for 2 months, and was had an investor depending on me, and ran a Kickstarter campaign, so I had the public at large depending on it. So I basically put it all on the line for my best friend on the hopes that we could somehow find the professionalism to make this work. And aside from like the toughness and the difficulty in Jay never really being in a film production like on a pro level like this, it was cool to see him bounce, take the punches, and be able to jump in that world with both feet and not have regrets and not want to backtrack because even now, when you talk to him, you can see how important this is, and that importance only grew every step of the way. And that's something I don't think I had seen in him before because it was just buddies playing Rock Band, playing GoldenEye, having a few beers, taking it up a notch, getting into trouble when maybe we shouldn't. So it was like a different shade of the friendship, and our friendship is only better because of that.
Yeah. Well said.
Well
Yeah.
said. Who's better at video games?
Well, Jay's
Depends
player
on the
one,
depends on the
or
game.
he's not playing. Jay's
Depends
player
on
one,
the
or he's not playing. So there's always advantages to being player one.
Stop that.
Even
If
when
you're
you're on the road, Jay, even when it's not your home turf, you still command player one.
See,
Yes.
the story behind that is that
No, you see, he's trying to talk his way
most
out of it.
most of the time when we were growing up, because I'm a little older than Rob, it was my game. I bought the game. So when you buy Super Mario Brothers 3 or whatever it is, you want to be Mario.
Not
I don't
me.
think there's anything wrong with that. So when I buy GoldenEye, I'm going to be
You know,
James Bond.
there's a difference between wanting to be the character and outright defying anybody else that dare, tread on that territory. Let's be 100% clear here, Bartlett. Nobody could be Bond. Nobody could be
That's
Joanna
true.
Dark. Nobody could be Mario in Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, any Mario title, because you got to be player one or you're not playing.
That's
And he
true.
won't play. He won't play unless he's the main character.
If you're going to put in any EA hockey game, Rob will absolutely destroy you. As far as who's better, I think we're pretty equal. I think it's just the time you put into a game. So,
I don't have
Diplomatic.
a lot of time playing as the first players, so when it comes to games where Mario has different advantages, Jay will always win those ones.
nice.
Who wins the GoldenEye? Love GoldenEye.
Probably Jay. Probably Jay, because I never owned it. I owned Perfect Dark, but again, when we get into games, we get into it hardcore, and Jay got really hardcore into GoldenEye to the point where we would play a golden gun scenario, and Jay would basically get the gun first, and if you wanted it when you're playing in a respawn mode, he'd make you get on your knees and beg for it in the game, and then he would allow you to take the spawn golden gun, and sometimes he'd shoot you in the head anyways.
We made this rule, Chris. You're familiar with GoldenEye, I assume.
Oh yeah, because
Oh,
like
yeah.
everybody played it.
You hit the right bumper and the trigger, and your character crouches down, and you can still move. And we just made a rule, us buddies that played it, that if you didn't have the golden gun, you didn't want to get shot, you get on your knees, and then you would be safe. Because that would be like a mercy thing. Like, I'm just trying to get the gun, don't mind me here.
So there'd be a lineup of 3 people crouched down waiting for the gun to respawn as Jay would sit there allowing it to happen, and then all of a sudden he'd just start picking us off and avoid it. So, and he was player one. How can you argue with player one?
Yeah. No, I kind of understand because I was the kid who had all the games. I was always bringing my stuff to my friend's place in grade school, and I'm just gonna be player one. I'm setting all the shit up. I know
Exactly.
all the
My
rules
hard
were.
work says
I know
player
how
one.
I
You
know how to
know
get
what I'm
through the
saying, Chris.
menus.
We're on the
So,
same page there. And I'm an only child. I mean, Rob's the closest to a brother that I have, right? I don't have any siblings, so. And he's younger than me, so I'm the older brother, right? So you're going to
there you
play
go.
the other character, right? There you go.
I'm
I
an only
don't
child
concur.
too, so I understand. Sometimes there's just something you get a little particular about.
Yeah,
Because I
for
just
sure.
you get it, I like
Regardless
it.
of any of that stuff, Luigi is better.
Luigi is the shit, man. Mario is like he's fat, he's out of shape. He can't keep his girlfriend, like in the house or whatever. She's always either getting kidnapped or running away from him. I don't know. So Luigi, he's playing around. He's got Daisy over there. He's got something going on, but
He's
he's
playing
not
around.
committed.
Luigi's the player.
But yeah, and green is the better color than red. At least in my
Sure.
world. So I'm a big Luigi fan.
No
Anyway.
comment. No comment.
Have you just I got a couple of quickies here. I actually just got a care package today from 8-Bit Evolution. Have you
Oh,
guys
nice.
have you guys ever heard of this Super Mario Brothers Evolution?
No, I haven't.
Nope.
Me neither. So I'm pretty excited. We just kind of like exchange presents. Like I helped them out, with events. I was at the Pittsburgh Retro Gaming Expo running some stuff, and he just
Nice.
sent me a couple things I'm pretty excited about. Zelda, you sent me this Oracle of Seasons and a beautiful box
Very
here for
cool, yeah.
GBA.
Oh, that's wicked, man. Right on.
They also do
And
prints of Mother 3, which are really cool.
yes, oh my God, I still don't have. I'm in the process of playing that, but I'd really, really love to have it on a real cartridge. Yeah, I think it's he said one of their most popular things is the translator Mother 3, which another game series I feel like every gamer should play is the Earthbound Mother games.
Yeah.
I'll give one more quick shout out to 8-Bit Evolution. Can we get that on there? So, there we go. Yeah, so 8-Bit Evolution, if you use the code GDL10, you get a 10% discount on all the cool stuff in their store. So that's pretty
Nice.
sweet. So, yeah, guys, they're a great company. I'm glad that you guys, Jay and Rob, you guys vouch for them.
Yeah, man.
Super quality. They're doing this for the right
Absolutely.
reasons, and they got great product. So, yeah, so I've been trying to figure out. Oh, there we go. Ask us any.
That was
Exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to
that
figure
was
out.
me. I
Oh
don't know how
no,
many
I
people
saw.
are watching. I don't know how many people are watching, but ask us some questions, please. Rare opportunity to talk to Nintendo Questers, Jay and Rob. Ask us anything you want. Nothing is off limits.
Yeah, we do. We've got a nice base of viewers here, and I'm trying to figure out if the chat
Oh, the
and
pressure's
everything is
on
working.
now. I think it's working. Maybe they just got to go to the side to the Q&A section.
Yeah.
There's a separate thing for questions and versus chat. Either way, we'll catch it. Throw it at us, guys.
Yeah,
Quick
guys.
little
Yeah.
update. Our Kickstarter is at 31,692.
Nice.
31,692. We're getting closer and closer to that 35K mark.
That's unbelievable. What's the time frame? When did the first Kickstarter happen? The very first one that you guys did? How long has it been?
The first one we did was May 21st, 2013, and that ran for 30 days. And then this one started January 6th.
Cool. Awesome.
And there's only 51 hours left, Chris.
I
51!
know, man. I'll be getting to work
What's the
tomorrow.
deal?
I gotta
Let's
go on
go.
Hootsuite. I gotta schedule my tweets in the next couple of days to make sure we're getting you guys some last minute
Close.
contributors.
Hey, that's awful kind of you. I really appreciate that, buddy. Seriously, that's great.
John
yeah, no,
Pompa
it's awesome.
has a question for Ray.
Oh, I just caught that. It takes me a bit, but
Our buddy John Pompa appears in the film. He's a world record holder of his own right. And he was at the Pittsburgh con that you just mentioned as well.
how's John?
Um,
How's
Oh,
John
cool.
sending you questions? How's that working?
I missed that. What's
How-
happening?
How is John sending you questions? How's that
He's not.
work?
He's sending us questions. You got to go to the Q&A tab on the left.
Oh yeah, it's in. Yeah, by all means, John, ask away. We are currently answering your question. So I guess just type
I
in
have a
in
question.
full your full question.
So
I was hoping that
Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say I was hoping that I could make him like a presenter now, but I thought that was how the Q&A could work. But I think it's just in text. So
Yeah, I
John,
think it's just a text.
It is, yeah. So how you invited Rob and I, if you wanted to have other people on, you'd have to copy and paste the link above and then send it to them in a private message. But yeah, otherwise I just started doing these things a couple months ago too, so it is a little complex at first.
So
Yeah.
John called Jay Ray because when we went to Du Bois, which is hosting a screening at Nintendo Quest this August, late August, date to be announced very soon, which is in Pennsylvania, not that far from you, Chris, not that far.
I like it.
The reporter there did a story on us, and they called Jay Ray Bartlett, like in the lower third text. They called him Ray Bartlett, and they called me Rob McAloo.
What? Macaloo.
Hey, Rob McAloo, how's it going? So
I
John is
mean,
eagerly anticipating Ray and Rob McAloo's return. Oh, I guess John met you at the NES Remix tourney, he says.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. Have you guys played NES Remix on the Wii U? Do you know what it is?
yeah, I do. Yeah, it's
Chris,
great.
Chris, come on now. Come on now, Chris. Come on.
Dude, so many people, when I would
We
start
said no.
using that for events, like people were like clueless about it because Nintendo like didn't market it at all. And
That's true.
but yeah, so that's one of my favorite things to like run like little tournaments for because some of those things are really, really, really hard. And there's one that yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, exactly, John. I'm glad that we're able to meet. I'll definitely meet you at the next one then. Pittsburgh or Cleveland or wherever we are. I will see you there. So, John, did you want to follow up on? Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, and oh man, this is my dude, Undamned. He's from the West Coast, and he's a huge part of the Street Fighter 2 community. Because just like with
Awesome.
retro games, obviously we need working Nintendos and all that stuff. To play Super Turbo, there's never been a perfect version of Super Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo, which we still play at the international levels and everything at Evo in Vegas. We run a big event for it. He invented a way that you can hook just the board up itself to like a television and have like it's got USB ports and you plug it into the Super Turbo board. You don't
Oh
need like
wow.
a giant super gun, the old box, and it's hard to get those arcade machines around. So yeah, he just came up with this technology on his own. So huge
That's
shout outs
amazing.
to Undamned.
Well,
Who's your
we all have
character?
a Saturday afternoon here and there, you know. Go ahead.
Chris,
What are
who's
you
your
saying, Joe?
character? Who do you play?
Oh, I play Ryu, kind of like the Mario thing, but that's how I'm with fighting games. A lot of times I play like one of the main characters, and Ryu is just all about controlling space and like kind of like never losing your cool. That's his character, and that's like the way I play Ryu. So I play. People hate me. I play really lame. I play really boring, and I just do simple things to like perfection as much as I can.
Nice.
Um, okay, yeah. Can
What's
you
he
guys
asking?
see?
What's he asking? Yeah. So,
Can you
did you
guys
want to
see the
read that out?
questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you guys were out hunting for games, did you find a correlation between how hard it was to find a particular game or how much it costs to your appreciation of the game when you were playing it?
Well, I know the catalog of the NES very well, so I already know if a game is good compared to if it's just rare because it's short printed. So,
Yeah,
does that answer the question? There was some game. We've talked about this one. It's no spoiler. We've talked about Panic Restaurant, which is a great game, and it's also a very uncommon. It's a rare game. So that was one. Actually, Rob and I never had a chance to ever play before, and we played it in one of the hotel rooms, and it's a fantastic little side scroller. It's
Yeah, it's really interesting, Chris, because a lot of people think all retro games should be like $10 or under. They're not worth anything more than that because they came out 30 years ago. Why would you pay $20 for The Legend of Zelda or Mike Tyson's Punch Out or $30 for Contra? Well, because those are good games, you know. So
yeah.
they deserve that value. But when it comes to what Jay wants to buy versus what he's trying to save for and what choices he makes, that's a whole nother
there's a lot of rare NES games in the library that are absolutely terrible and
Like
that are
name,
quite
name
that are quite expensive. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, those ones are tough to decide on.
what are a couple of those what were some of the shittiest games to, high value ratio that you're thinking of so we can go play them right now.
In my opinion, a really rare game that's worth a lot that's terrible is Zombie Nation. Comes to the top of my head. Let me think what else.
I'm not a huge fan of Dinosaur Peak. I think that's not exactly
Dinosaur
worth.
Peak. Uh,
Yeah, which to clarify wasn't part of Jay's 30-day goal because it was a Blockbuster exclusive, so it wasn't a retail release that everybody could buy off the shelf. But that's a game that goes for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I don't think the price justifies what you get in the game.
Color a Dinosaur is a game that is basically a console version of an early paint program, and it's absolutely brutal. But it's 80 to $100. So that's a perfect example actually.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I'm gonna try to track those down and get some. I love making people suffer through terrible games, like at like my bar events and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I'm always looking for material.
Color Dinosaur, buddy. Lock it up.
Yeah, Color a Dinosaur is not even really so much a game. It's just
Well, that's just it.
you're
You
putting the
will tell
cursor over.
anybody. You will give $100 away to the person who can complete Color Dinosaur and get to the end game screen.
Color it dinosaur? Is that what it's called?
Color a Dinosaur. In fact, Tommy Tallarico did the music for Color a Dinosaur.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
100%, yeah. So that picture that you posted with him and
Yeah.
he just signed my copy of Color a Dinosaur before that picture, and he
That's
wrote
awesome.
on it, "Worst game ever." In fact, here I can grab it. 1 second.
Do it. While Rob is doing that, oh, you got it already.
Yeah, I
You
got
got
it.
it already. Let's see it. Then I'll do our next question.
So worst game ever. To Rob. Tommy
Color
Tallarico.
it dinosaur.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. Got another question, and it's going to lead into another question that I have for you guys, actually. Will we see
Great.
a possible collaboration with the Pittsburgh Retro Gaming Expo that 8-Bit Evolution in part hosts and Nintendo Quest? Awesome event and an awesome movie. Seems like a perfect match.
It depends if those guys are interested in having the film there. That's really kind of what it comes down to and what we can arrange. And more than anything, it's timing, schedule, and ability to travel to these things. With me being on the West Coast and Jay being in Canada, it's not always super easy. Thankfully, Jay lives in London, Ontario, which isn't that far from Pittsburgh, but it's all about making everything make sense. Would we love to do it? Absolutely. Why wouldn't we want to show the film with more people? That's what this is about. You don't make a film to stick it on a shelf. You share it with the world. So we would love to do that.
Yeah, we're gonna try and go to as many places as we can, to the best of our ability. So we'll pretty much go anywhere that we're wanted. So I'd love to do it. I think it'd be awesome.
Cool, guys.
That's usually in mid-November, right?
Well, yeah, I think so. I believe it was.
I believe it was the 16th last year, the 15th, 16th.
Yeah, I believe so. And I was really impressed. James Dayan, I think that's how I say his last name. He's a really, really cool guy, and I was really impressed at the event that they put together. And he's kind of in the world that I'm trying to think of, because I used to just run, this big, 600-person, fighting game event, where it's all, events and everything around fighting games. I'm more like we're talking about the general celebration of all types of gaming. So the like annual event that I try to do now, we did one in September called the Video Game Expo. So I'm trying to take that concept and keep making that bigger. And the same thing. I'd really like to even schedule the timing of my event, to showcase your movie, if we can do that in the fall. So
Sure. Well, let's keep talking.
yeah, man.
That'd be great, Chris. That would be really exciting.
It's real easy. Just send the limos to my place in Vegas. Send a limo to Jay. There's probably a red carpet rental that you can get. Find a reporter that calls him Ray, another reporter that calls me Macaloo, and you'll be set.
I'll call in some favors.
I like it.
That is honestly one advantage that I have. So I came from the gaming world, and I wanted to learn more about the professional events industry and figure out how do you start a company. These things I never ever would have dreamed of doing if it wasn't for Seasons Meetings. So I'm in a good place. I've got good contacts with venues, and we have a limo service in the International Special Event Society, chapter in Cleveland. So hey, maybe there's something we can work out there.
Perfect.
I like it. Done. I like it. See,
Perfect.
ask and ye shall be rewarded.
Yeah, when you got guests coming in, you gotta treat them right. That's what we try to do. So
I like
we'll
it.
we'll revisit that, idea.
Yeah,
But
jokes aside, Chris, seriously though, we would love to obviously explore any and all possible options. Let's make this happen if everything lines up. It's really just the dates, and we talked about
sure.
that briefly, what's happening, and we can revisit the screening dates that we already have set to at some point. But what was your next question that you wanted to lead into?
Oh, that was pretty much it.
Oh,
Definitely like
okay.
to,
You
run an event. My next video game expo or something. I definitely like to make the film, like a highlight, of the event, a focal point.
Well, let me
So,
take 2 seconds and plug the screenings that we do have scheduled for anybody that is watching,
yeah,
wondering if Nintendo Quest is questing towards them anytime soon. So screenings start this June. Right now, it's still tentative when the first one is, but we're looking at the last weekend in June. I believe it's the 26th, 27th in Las Vegas. And then the following night will be in Beverly Hills or vice versa, depending on how the venues kind of work out. But it'll be that weekend. So Las Vegas, Beverly Hills, and then a Classic Game Fest in Austin at the end of July on the 25th, 26th. And then just added this week, Houston has a screening at the Alamo Draft House there on the 27th. And then we're working at screenings with Warp Zone at Columbus, Ohio, as well as VGX in Du Bois, PA. We have a screening in our hometown of London, Ontario, Canada, and a possible second screening there on the weekend of the 25th of September. And we will also be showing the film on October 17th, I believe, at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo in Portland, Oregon. And there are still a few other ones to be announced, like Edmonton, Alberta, Canada is going to have Nintendo Quest, and we're looking at stuff like MagFest again, which invited us this year, but the film wasn't quite ready yet. So
oh wow.
we are trying to get the film out there. There is no shortage of opportunities, which is just another reason why we're just super thankful that people want to bring the Quest to their event and town.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any? What was I going to ask? So
Yes.
if I approach like Cleveland Cinemas about getting you guys getting a screening scheduled, I just kind of like put them in touch with you, or how can I facilitate that process best?
Well, that's something we can. It's not an easy thing to discuss on air. We can figure out some of the. There's a whole bunch of different steps, and every place, every
Okay.
venue has different requirements. That's the hard part. So some places want a certain kind of file format. They call it DCP, a digital cinema package. Other places are comfortable doing a Blu-ray. Some people insist on having it rated by the certification board. Other places are cool with it. So there's a whole bunch of things, and it's basically you've got to approach the venue and see what they're willing to do, and then kind of take it step by step and jump through their hurdles to make them feel comfortable.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'm sure that explanation will apply to anyone else who's watching who would like to get Nintendo Quest screened at
I
your
will
cinema.
say, Chris, I will say that on Kickstarter there is one slot left to host an advanced screening of Nintendo Quest. We will make it happen this summer. We will bring the film to you. It is our highest tier award. We've already had one person pledge it and other people that have pledged it, but also wanted other perks, so that's why their donations are out there. But there is one slot left. If you want to host an advanced screening of Nintendo Quest, get Jay and myself to come to your town with the film in hand, help you promote it. All you got to do is basically rent a theater in your town. You get to profit from ticket sales, and we'll bring some DVDs for you to sell at the event, and we'll help kind of make an awesome weekend of it for you guys and your event, your organization. Game on, man. Game on!
Sweet. What a perfect plug. I love it. Um, yeah, well, I
Funny
guess
how
as
all
we.
these things tie together.
Oh, and the other question, what's the ETA on the cartridge?
2016 we're looking at by the time that it's done, so basically a year after the film comes out. So while everybody's enjoying and discovering the film for the year as it rolls out at various events, by the time that winds down here and there, we get to announce the cartridge, which gives us more reasons to do more screenings and unveil the game at the same time. So
Yeah, awesome. All right. Cool. Well, if there are any other questions, any other burning questions that our audience has, please submit them while we kind of start doing our outros here. So, my lower third, thanks to Google Hangouts, it disappeared. But if you forgot who I was in this broadcast, my name is Chris Atala. Games Unlegit is my video game entertainment company here in Cleveland. Um, shoot, I went through pretty much all my burning questions that I had for you guys, and you answered them oftentimes so eloquently that I'm glad we have this for all time to be preserved on YouTube. What's your favorite NES game? Why don't we do with that? Both you guys. Jay, what's your
Jay?
favorite Nintendo game?
My favorite NES game is Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, hands down.
Yes, respect, man. It's the black sheep, and people just like don't feel that game if they're like huge Zelda fans. It makes me sad. Thank you.
It was a game that terrified me as a kid. It was a game that I didn't understand the leveling up system. So this past summer I tackled it and I finished it, I think, 2 or 3 times in the span of a week, and it was instantly my favorite. So
So epic. That Great Palace, the music, getting through that maze, it's crazy.
Great. I think Majora's Mask is the only other one that has music that's slightly better, but Zelda 2 has fantastic music, yeah.
Hell yeah, rock on. Rob, how about you?
Well, Chris, we talked a little bit earlier in the week, so this won't come as a shock to you. DuckTales for the NES, a little bit more the family-friendly variety. I just love that it's such a fine example of branded content that translates to a fun, enduring NES game. I mean, there are not too many NES games that get HD remakes nowadays, but the DuckTales one was fantastic. I'm obviously hoping for a Rescue Rangers one, but all that Disney Capcom stuff has an awesome place in my heart. It's just fun. It like every time you play those games, you can't help but smile. The graphics, the music, the gameplay. It's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, well, obviously we know, your game is going to be amazing because, you guys are steeped in the history, and not just that you love the games, but it comes across you have a solid foundation of, the game design and like just what makes them fun. So I'm so excited to play the finished product when you guys have that available.
Thanks, man. And obviously you, like everybody else watching and who will discover this on YouTube before the campaign ends, will go to Kickstarter.com, search Nintendo Quest, plunk down $50 or more, get your copy of the film, get your copy of the game, help us get that stretch goal so you can get the manual, an overworld map, and find peace in the galaxy and save the world from Digicorp Unlimited.
That's awesome, man. I might have to. I see there's a couple spots left for the slot in the game. So
I'm telling you, man, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to be in a Nintendo game, man. Get in a Nintendo game. Are you kidding me? Do it.
Yeah, you're about to have one last because I'm gonna jump in there. Please don't. I'm trusting you guys with my cash now. You guys are stand-up guys and everything. But we just met. I'm gonna take this leap of faith in your game. I want to see it happen. I want to see it happen that bad. So
it'll be worthwhile. You'll get to collaborate with us, and you'll get some kind of behind-the-scenes updates by being a part of that process. So it'll be cool, man. It'll definitely be cool. The last thing I'm going to say before we wrap out this outro, obviously thanks, Chris, for having us on and talking about it and exploring what we think about gaming. But our last day of the campaign is Friday. We will be part of a Twitch broadcast for Team Mayhem, which is Michelle Ireland and Matt Miller. We're going for a balloon fight in Mario Brothers world record from 7 p.m. Eastern to approximately midnight or 1 a.m. Eastern. And then Jay and I are going to host a hangout for the last 3 or so hours leading up to 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is like Saturday morning for you guys, but it's midnight Pacific for me. So the fun starts 7 p.m. Eastern Friday as we count down the final hours of the Nintendo Quest Kickstarter campaign. We will be giving merch away, we will be giving games away, and we will be giving movies away. So you got to tune in, be a part of it, join the 8-Bit Army, and help Nintendo Quest get where it needs to go.
I like it. And what's the link going to be for that?
We haven't figured it out yet. Much like this, it'll be a Twitch link. Just visit NES Club or NintendoQuestMovie.com, Facebook.com/the NES Club. You'll see updates. Go on my personal Facebook page. I know you'll retweet it when we put it out there on Twitter at the NES Club. So it'll be out there. Join us. Join the 8-Bit Army. Enlist and stop Digicorp.
I like it. We got to stop them, man, because I'm sick of this crap. And I want a manual. So donate.
There you go. And an overworld map. Otherwise, you're going to have to play the game a couple times to figure out where things are. Because we're not going to spoon feed it to you. We're not going to give you a link to sort it out.
Oh my God, this is so amazing, guys! Thank you so much for joining us here. And yeah, hit us up on Twitter. I'm always available at Games Unlegit across all social media platforms. If you like what you're seeing right now, I'm really just starting, my YouTube kind of stuff. I'm going to be uploading tons of our old fighting game matches from seasons beating. So you're going to have basically the best. We're going to have a lot of world championship matches, from the fighting game community. I'm going to be re-uploading those to the Games Unlegit channel, and doing more of these awesome interviews. Shout out to SegaNerds.com, which I also contribute to now and then as a writer when I can. They put out amazing stuff, and the formatting for like these hangouts and everything. The editor of Sega Nerds, he came up with this internet format and everything to do with Google Hangouts and do a lot of outreach to gaming personalities and people doing awesome stuff. So shout outs to them. Shout outs to 8-Bit Evolution. Reminder, you can get all their awesome stuff 10% off code GDL10. And shout outs to you
Chris,
guys, Rob and Jay.
What happens, Chris? What happens if we put GDL 90?
That's a really good question. Find out, and then I'll use it too, if it works.
All right. I like that. Okay. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And everybody that watched, even if you're good friends with us, I appreciate the support and the eyeballs on our regular hijinks. So thanks. Jay?
Yeah, Chris, thanks for having us. I really like your show, man. And we'll be on again soon if you have us, for sure.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to hear about these records you guys are going after. I want to hear about that. We're gonna want to hear about the progress of as we get closer, to the film being like ready for release. I'm just so interested in that process and how you guys are feeling, leading up to that and everything, and of course the making of the Nintendo game, which hopefully I'll be a part of after I donate. So.
Well, you better hurry because Chris, time is ticking. Time is ticking. Okay.
Oh, I'm in there. We got this. All right, guys. That is it. Yeah, we hope to see everyone online. Yeah, connect with us. Let's get the conversation going. And thank you so much, guys. I can't wait for Nintendo Quest.
Thanks a lot, man. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Have a good night.